Welcome back to part 3 of working on that old motor for Dude. I tell you what, we got a whole lot left to do. I ain't sure we're going to get it done in 3 parts, but I do know this. I can't get nothing done talking to y'all. Well, I do believe I left off from the last episode telling y'all that we were going to use these 882 heads I bought off of Facebook. Well, there's the 882 right there. Let me tell you, they're a little bit rough. You can tell they had some watt tiles to get in them. Them valves are pretty rusty. That intake valve right there, it's pretty much gone. Yes, sir. So I think what we're going to do first thing, let's pull the valves out and we're going to Magnaflux. Make sure we ain't got no cracks. We're going to be using this thing right here. This is a Magnaflux. I built this all 4 or 5 years ago. The old Farmall F30. It got to getting wooters in my Earls. I couldn't figure out why. Well, I ended up tearing the motor apart, and I wanted to check the head for cracks. Well, I built this little apparatus right here. It basically, it's just coated copper wire. Just hundreds and thousands probably of wraps around this. Then I got her hooked to this little 12-volt battery. It ain't super strong, but it works. It works just fine. Got my little momentary button right there. I just saw a spark somewhere. That ain't good. Anyway, it'll work for what we want to do. So let me get these valves out of here, and we'll go to checking for cracks. All right, I got this head stripped down. Got my wiry brush out, cleaned it up pretty good. There's a couple areas that I'm a little concerned with. On the gasket surfaces, you can't see it there, but a little pitted there, a little pitted there. I could probably use some copper spray stuff on there to be okay. Push comes to shove, I can stick it on the mill over there, I guess. Try to mill it a little bit, but we'll worry about that after we check for cracks. I done started on this one. That yellow stuff is this right here. It's just a magnetic powder. It's little old metal shavings is what it is. I've used the grinding dust from the grinder before. Yes, sir. Anyway, all you do, you stick it up here, you go crossways, and then I go this way and this way too. Stick it up there and hit the button, just like that. If you've got a crack, well, it'll show it. It'll show up as a line, and I've done this one and I ain't seeing nothing yet. But watch that metal dust right there change when I hit the button. See it move there? Changes color sort. It's probably going to mess my camera up, my phone too. Anyway, I'll set the camera up and we'll check all these right here and just see if we see any cracks. All right, all you do, sit it there, hit the button. Sit it there, hit the button. And I go this way. And I go this way. I ain't seeing no cracks. Not yet, anyway. You'll usually crack here or anywhere in the seat, really. They'll crack here, right there, sometimes down in here. Let me put a little bit more on it, here and there and everywhere. Tell you what, let's lean her up like that, too. Now, maybe I can get some more dust right in here and it'll stay. All right, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Let's give her a try again. See that dust move? Well, y'all probably can't. But it'll move every time I hit that button. The reason why I've been told that you want to move it around is if the crack lines up with this, it won't show up. It's got to be sort of like this to it, and you have to move it around. All right, let's move on to the next one. See if we see anything. I ain't seeing no cracks anywhere, so that's good. I'm gonna call them good, and I'll tear that other one down, and we'll do the same thing. I'll show y'all this real quick, but there ain't really nothing to see. Well, there ain't a whole lot to see because there ain't no cracks, which is wonderful. Let me get the other one tore down, and fingers crossed that we ain't got no cracks in it. Well, I got head number 2 checked. I ain't seen a cracked one nowhere, so that's awesome. I guess what we'll do next, well, let me clean this up, and we're gonna have to give it a valve job because these seats, they're pretty rough. The valves, they're pretty rough too. Them, yeah, they're pretty thin. What I'm gonna do, these are 194 intake, 150 exhaust. The heads that come off that motor, well, they're sitting right there. Those are 194, 150s. Gonna pull the valves off them heads, put them in here. But we gotta do a valve job before I can do that. So let me get cleaned up, get set up, and I'll show you how we're gonna do the valve job. All right, I got them cleaned up pretty good, and I just got done doing a little porting and polishing. And by that, I mean I took my wiry brush right here, got all down in the ports and got all that rust and crud out of it. They're much cleaner. They were pretty nasty. Anyway, you might be wondering, well, how in the world is he gonna do a valve job? Well, let me show you. See this box here, that one, and that one? Well, they came out of this bigger box right here. That is a very, very old Black & Decker valve job, valve cutting, seat grinding apparatus. Daddy got, I think he got it from the older gentleman that, you know, has been giving me the boring bar and the cars and whatnot. Pretty sure that's where this come from. Let me set the camera up, because I got to have both hands, and just show you how this apparatus works. Well, I'm going to set y'all up on the camera stand here in a moment, but I felt like you need to be right here so you can see what I'm doing for now. Anyway, let me walk you through some of this. Some of this stuff I don't know what it's used for. Most of it I do, though. Well, let's just do this right here. Some of you older fellers, you've probably used some of this. This, I don't know what it's for. I'm assuming it may be to ram it in there and clean out a valve guide. Maybe. I don't know. If y'all know, let me know. The rest of these, well, it's this apparatus right here. This little cone looking thing screws on to the end of this. And it's, well, I got several of them for different size valve guides. This one here, it says is 11/32, which that's what these are, to 23/64, made in the USA. What you do with this goes, actually, let me back up, I'm getting ahead of myself. It goes in the end of this, and then you stick it in the valve guide on down in there. Well, I can't get it, there it goes. Then this will be on here, and you use this to tighten it up. It acts sort of like a collet. That thing will tighten it up. Well, you might be wondering, well, why do you need this? Well, because of this apparatus right here. This will go on here, and that's how you actually grind your seat. This stone, well, they're 40, that's what I'm doing, a 45-degree seat. Got to have different sizes, you know, for different valves. This little feller here, you got to be centered on that seat, and you use the valve guide to do it, and that's what that thing there does. And then you got a gun, sticks on here, and you just pop it real quick, grind it. The bad thing about these stones is you can't use them very long. They go to getting dug out. You have to dress them. I don't have the dresser. I really wish I did, and tonight I may look online and see if I can find one, because that's pretty important when you're doing this. These look pretty good, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But yeah, if I can find a dresser, all it does is a diamond tipped thing. It's a fixture you set this in. You got a diamond tip cutter thing. It'll come across here and true that back up at the 45. You got 30s, and you got, there may be some 15s, maybe 60s. I don't know. It's all kind of stuff. But let me get y'all on the camera stand, and I'll show you exactly how you do. Oh, let me show you this. I got 2 of these, and these are knurlers. If you got a valve guide that's loose, but you don't want to put a new valve guide in it, well, this thing in here runs down in the valve guide, and it basically sort of makes threads. You know, it'll make it smaller. It'll tighten up on the valve stem. Then you got to come back in with a reamer, and you'll get it to size. But that's what those are right there. This piece here, I ain't got a clue what that is. Maybe some of you old timers know. And then of course I got my box of stones right here. The gun, where's the gun? Well, you'll see it in a minute. Let me get you on the camera stand and we'll just do a couple. All right, let me show y'all how you operate it. Like I said, you put this down in here, it locks it in. You stick that in your hole. You gotta go down far enough where that thing, won't hit the top of it here. You just tighten her up, just like that right there. It'll lock on to that valve guy. Make sure this is all the way down. Yep, we're good. I don't know if you're supposed to use any kind of lubricant, cutting fluid or not. I'm going to. Don't think it hurt nothing. Anyway, you just stick that down in there. Let's give that a little bit of lube. Then here is your gun right here. It just goes down in there. You don't do it very much. About like that right there. Take it off and look at it. That ain't bad, but I want it a little wider. So let's hit her again. Look at it again. That's starting to look pretty doggone good right there. Yes, sir. Let me wipe that off real quick. Well, if you go by these old ones, it's about the same and maybe a little bit wider. I'm going to hit it one more time. I think we'll call that one good. Like I said, it don't take much. And all you do is you put this little feller back on here. Ooh. And you unlock it like that and you pull that out. You move on to your next one. Pretty doggone simple. Let's do another one here real quick. It's kind of narrow right there. Let's do that again. Yeah, that'd probably be all right. Let me do one more, and I won't make y'all sit through this. Oh, it's kind of monotonous. Ain't bad. Let me hit it again. Yeah, that ain't bad. I think we'll call that good. Let me do this intake and then I'll do the exhaust and we gotta do the other head. All right, I got all these seats ground in and they look pretty doggone good if I must say so myself. These heads, they weren't as bad as I thought. No, sir. They just, I guess, surface rust made them look really bad. They've cleaned up pretty good. Let me do the other head, and then we got to see about getting some valves in them. Working on the other head here. I got all the exhaust done. They look pretty doggone good. But let me tell you, that exhaust, woo, 3 of them are just absolutely terrible. That and there ain't too bad. I got me a coarser stone right here. I'm going to hit this and hopefully it'll clean up. If it does, well, I'll do the others and then we'll go to the finer stone. Hopefully they'll be okay. Fingers crossed that this will straighten this out. Yeah, I believe it's going to work. Let me hit it again. I've been using this brush, wire brush, to clean my stones and it helps a lot. Getting a little bit rough with it, but it's in pretty bad shape. I believe, let me wipe that out. I believe that might straighten up. Yes, sir. I'm going to hit it a few more times with a rough one. Then we'll hit it with the finer stone, see what she looks like. Every afternoon, about sundown, for the last week or two, I hear this old hoot owl go to hollering. I've been trying to find him. Well, there he is right there. Crazy looking thing. There he goes. We'll see you later, buddy. Y'all hear that? There's two right over here. And I got one way off over yonder somewhere. I love to hear the hoot owl. It must be mating season or something, because here last couple weeks at my house, I got 2 or 3 that are really, really vocal late at night. I sure like to hear an old hoot owl though. There he goes right there. Well, y'all ain't gonna believe me unless I show you. I just got done hitting that with the fine stone. It's a wee bit wide, but hey, it cleaned up. I don't know if that really matters or not, but well, we're gonna run with it. Let me do these other 3. Well, I got the exhaust ports done. They don't look too bad. All that pitting's gone. Like I said, they're a wee bit wide, but I don't really know if that matters or not. That stone though, the rough stone, the coarse stone, it no more than I used it, it's starting to, divot out. So I've got to find a stone dresser for my stones. If any of y'all have got one, let me know. Email me, thisandthatgarage1@gmail.com. Anyway, what we got to do next, I got to get them TBI heads over here, pull the valves out, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that all we got to do is lap them in. I really don't feel like grinding in valves. That's just, well, it just takes too much time. All right, let's get some of these here Valverinis out of this head. Hopefully, they're going to work. Yeah. Well, there's one. Oh, I got to show y'all something too here in just a minute. Let me get this one done. I'll show you about them springs. All right, y'all remember how on the other set of heads that, the exhaust valve spring pocket was deeper than the intake? That's because of that rotator right here. Not all heads are done like that. The 882s that we're working on right now, we'll look at these springs. See the difference in the height? Instead of cutting the spring pockets on the exhaust deeper, they just put a little bit shorter spring. The only reason they do that, either this or the other way, cut the pockets down, is to keep the spring pressure the same on either valve. That's all it's for. All right, I got the Valverinis out of one of the TBI heads, fixing to do some lapping in. The feller that was, rebuilding that, he had it 75% done. He even had new valve seals in them heads, and I can see where he lapped the valves in. So I don't know why the fella quit on it. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to lap these valves in. I'm doing it the easy way with a piece of hose on a drill. If you ain't never seen that, well, you just stick a piece of hose on here. Then you put something in your drill that hose will fit, on the other end. And you just go to town. You just spin, spin, spin. I'll show you. Let me get it set up. All right, for those who do not know how to lap valves, let me give you a very, very quick crash course in valve lapping. You got coarse and fine valve lapping compound. I'm using fine because, we just got done grinding the seats and everything's pretty smooth. All you do, get you some valve lapping compound, put it on the valve just like that right there, and then you stick it in the head there. What you want to do is, you're going to be spinning it. This will be rubbing the valve seat in the head. Well, you'll spin, and that valve lapping compound will go away. Well, you push it out, and it sucks that valve compound back on the face of the valve. Well, then you bring it back in, spin, and it'll do the same thing. You go back out, and it'll bring it in and bring it out. Well, I'll just show you how you do it. The purpose of this is to make sure this valve is concentric all the way around that seat, and you'll seal it up. Basically, that's what you're doing with this right here. Be sure, Lube your valve guide. I use WD-40. You don't be spinning that, dry. You'll wear it out. Anyway, piece of hose. I got me a bolt of some kind. That'll go in the drill. This will go on the end of the valve stem just like that. Grab your drill and just go to town. You spin it and then you lift off, spin it, lift off, spin it, lift off. Just keep doing that. I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. Then you need to stop and check everything out, see if you're doing any good. Let us see what we have done. You got to wipe all your compound off, look at your valve and your seat. It's going to be hard to tell on the valve because he already had them lapped, but you can tell on the seat because they are not lapped. And I don't know how to explain it, but it'll be a dull, we ground the seat with the stone, they're pretty shiny. Well, when you're lapping the valves in, it'll turn dull, and that's how you know they're lapped in. That ain't good enough there, so I think we need to hit it a little bit more. That and it's starting to turn color. So I'm going to say we're pretty good. But I think that's going to work. So I've only got 15 more valves to do. So let me get to doing them. Also, by the way, once you do that, this valve needs to stay with that hole. So you better keep them in order some kind of way. Well, fellers, I believe I wasted about an hour trying to lap these in. They look pretty good most of well. The intakes look pretty good, but the exhaust not so much. These valves, they're wore. I put a straight edge across the face here and then held it up to the light like that right there. I can see daylight. They're dug out in the middle of the face. And well, you can see it. Y'all probably can't, but I can. I can see evidence of that when I'm lapping the valves in. It'll be lapping here and at the bottom, and in the middle, it won't be touching. So what we're going to have to do, I'm going to have to grind every one of them valves. I sure didn't want to. It takes a long time. Anyway, tomorrow we'll grind them valves, lap them in, do the same thing on the other head, and hopefully we'll be done with that. Then we can clean them up and put them together. But for now, I'm going home. Well, it's the next day. Let's just jump right on in and grind us some valves. I done ground one just to get the machine set up. And so is pretty right there, ain't it? Let me tell y'all this real quick. See the edge? Let me get it focused. The edge right there, that little flat. It's called a margin. You got to have some type of margin on an exhaust valve or it'll burn it up. I don't know what the spec is, what it's supposed to be, but whatever that is right there, well, that's what we're going with because that's what we got. Here is the machine right here. This is where you chuck your valve up. Let me grab one. You just stick her in there, just like that. Then you got your grinding wheel here. I don't have the proper wheel. This is a wheel for a seat, actually. All I've got, as far as the round ones are these. They're really coarse and they're really small. I did one with them a minute ago and it was too rough. It had took an hour probably to get it to lap in. So I got this one here, and I think it'll do just fine and dandily. But anyway, you chuck that up in there. You got two different switches for two different motors. This one turns this way. This one turns against it, and it just sits there and grinds. This arm here moves it this way. This one moves it this way. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. It's just a little time consuming. Also, you can do different angles. There's nowhere on it wrote what the angles are. I just, kind of had to eyeball it and see what it was. It's just got a pin you stick in here, and you can move it around. I done got it tightened down. But there's a hole there, and there's another one there, and there's one over here. Got it set on 45 degrees. So let me set the camera up, and we'll grind a few valves real quick. All right. Oh, excuse me, sirs and ma'ams. I did not mean to kick you like that. All right, let me back this here out the way for a minute. Get her on in there about like that right there. You just tighten it up like you would a drill. Oh yeah. Then I like to get it over here. Get it close before I ever turn it on. About like that right there, and then you back it off. Turn it on, go to grinding. I like to go the whole width of the stone. It's, you know, it's sort of like dressing it. That way it won't get worn on just one side. Anyway, you stop it and you look at it. We ain't touched her. So you run her on in. There's no dial, so you just I kind of go like a, I don't know, eighth of a turn at a time. Oh yeah, we're grinding her now, ladies. One more pass and that there may be done. Let's see. No, we ain't quite there. It's got a little bit left on about half of it. So let's go one more time. By George, I think we got it. And there we have a valve that is ground. Let me get up here and see if y'all can't see that. Show is pretty, ain't it? That's one down. Let me do one more. And then, well, I'll just keep on trucking because I got 14 more to do. There ain't there. Let me show y'all real quick what I was talking about last night. How it's not straight, it's sort of dug out in the middle. I don't know how well y'all be able to see that. See that dark spot in the middle and then two shinies on either side of the face? That's what I'm talking about. It's dug out in the middle. That's what we're trying to get rid of. That has come from, you know, millions of times being slammed against that valve seat. It just wears it out. I'm amazed that any of this lasts more than 30 minutes, much less 100,000, 200,000 miles. Anyway, I will continue to grind. Here's a better view of what I'm talking about, you know, being dug out in the middle. See the shiny on either side and that gray in the middle? That's because the middle, you know, is dug out from being slammed on the seat for millions of times. Anyway, I got about, 13, 12 more to do. Alrighty. I got all them valves, well, 8 of them I got ground. We got to lap them back in again. So, oh yeah. Pull this valve out, clean it up. See what kind of lapping we got. Oh yeah, that's butamus. Very butamus. That almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Let's see if I can show y'all. You probably can't see it. See that gray area in the middle? All the way around. Well, that means that much is contacting the seat. We're concentric. It's sealing up. That one's good. Keep them in order. Remember that. I reckon I got 7 more to do in this head. Then we get started on the other one. All right, we have an issue with lapping these valves in on these 2 exhausts right here. I got it set up, fixing to grind the seat a little bit more. But, well, there was WD-40 on here, and I just spun her around like that right there by hand. You can see, well, I don't know if y'all can or not, it's light over here on this side, you know, the WD-40. and it's pretty heavy over here. That tells me that seat has gotten cockeyed some kind of way. I don't know how I did it. Pretty sure this one's going to be the same way. So let me grind these two seats a little bit better, and then we'll lap them in and see if that don't help it out. It's definitely cutting all the way around. See what, we'll leave it at that. Let me come over here and try this one too, and then we'll lap them in again. Well, I got these two exhausts reground and relapped. They're better, but they're still lopsided. You know, it's lapping a lot more over here than it is over here. Let's see if I can't get that to show up on camera. See how nice and gray that is? Well, you flip it up here, and well, y'all can't see it, but it's got more shiny over here. But it is touching all the way around. That one there's the same way. It's just gonna have to do, yes sir, what I'm fixing to do, put these valves in here so they don't get out of order. Get over here, get the other TBI head, get the valves out of it, and go to grinding those valves and lap them in too. I'll see y'all when I'm done. Well, I'm on my last valve right here, and well, it wants to be weird. Just look at that. Look at that pattern on that right there. I ain't got a clue what's causing that. The seat looks great. It's this one right here. So that tells me there's something going on with this valve, so I reckon I'll have to drag it valve grinder back out, hit that another lick, hopefully it'll straighten up, and get that lapped in. All right, I ground this valve again, and it did the exact same thing again. See that little checkered pattern, whatever you want to call it. So I got another valve, ground it. It's doing the same thing, not quite as bad, but it's definitely doing it. See it right there? So I got to looking at my valve grinder here. My stone, see how it's dirty there, and it cleans up. It's either cutting right there only, or it's cutting where the clean part is. It's probably cutting here where the dirty part is. So, I mean, I don't see what difference that make, because, you know, it's spinning pretty fast. It should. Anyway, I'm going to change that. I'm going to get me another wheel and put it on there and grind another valve. See if that don't take this issue away. Well, I put a new stone on my valve grinder there. I ground both of these valves. This one here is one that came out of these heads. It's pretty rough. And the other one is one that come out of the TBI head. Anyway, I ground them both with the new stone, lapped them in, and they both did the same thing. This one here, I don't know if y'all be able to see it. It ain't as bad, but it's still doing it. Well, you know, I lapped that one in too, same thing. Well, I moved it to the next hole over. Lapped it in, it quit doing that. So most likely, we got a wore out valve guide, and it's sitting there, you know, sort of wobbling. You know what we're going to do about that? Well, I know what I'm going to do about that. I ain't going to give it a second thought. I'm going to put these heads together and run them. It ain't what we're doing. Backyard butchery. Just keep that in the back of your head. Backyard butchery, no matter. Eventually, I would like to buy a good set of aluminum heads for this motor, but for now, this right here is going to do. What we're going to do next, I reckon, we got to pull these studs and do the screw-in studs. So let me get busy doing that. Well, here's a tech tip for you. If you're pulling these studs like I've showed you, you know, like in the last video, using you use your rocker balls, and then you put a nut on there and drive it down, and it pulls it off. Make sure you got some strong nuts, because I done stripped 4. There they are right there. Stripped 2 on that one and 2 on this one. Luckily, got that one off. This one here, I guess we're going to have to heat the base up here, put a slide hammer up here, and try to yank it out of there. I'm going to take this outside, though, because putting a torch on this old oil, ooh-wee, that's going to stink. All right, fellas, I have been fooling with this stupid little stud. I know a couple hours trying to get it out. Tried heat and a slide hammer. That was a joke. It's in there too tight for that slide hammer to do any good. If I had a big one, you know, big weight, it would probably yank it out, but that in there, it won't do it. So what I did is, well, I threaded it all the way down first. These are 3/8 fine thread. Threaded it as far as I could go. And that moved it a little bit, but then stripped the threads again. So what I decided to do was thread it the next size down, which is 5/16 24. Well, I immediately stripped the threads on that nut right there. So what I've done is took this bolt right here, drilled and tapped it 5/16 24. It's probably that deep right there, threads. The reason why is the more threads you got, the less likely you are to strip the threads. So what we're fixing to do, thread this little feller on down on here. The reason I used a bolt is so I could have, you know, a hex, something to grab hold of. Anyway, let me put the gun on this. Let's see if this won't break loose. All right, let's see if this sucker come on out of there. We moved it some. Let me put me another spacer on there. Hit it another lick. Wait a minute. My socket fell off. Trying to do this, hold this camera at the same time. All right, here we go. Well, it broke. I thought it would. I ain't got a clue what I'm gonna do now. Back to the drawing board. Well, I got it out finally. That's what's left of it right there. I drilled it out a couple of times and then just took a punch, drove it on back through the other way. You know, it's you do that and it'll sort of fold in on itself, but as you can see, I drilled her just a little bit off center. I hope that ain't gonna mess this up. Might have to put a little extra Loctite on it or something. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to tap these, and it'll probably be about time to call it quits. And then we'll work on that other tomorrow. This right here, if this wouldn't happen, I probably would have got done with both of these heads today, but you know how the MLS, it never rests. So anyway, let me tap these. All right, I got all these holes tapped. That's the one that I had to drill, and I drilled it crooked. I think it'll be just fine and dandly. It looks okay. But I decided to fool with this other head a little bit. Let me tell you, these studs, wow, we done stripped that one out. Probably gonna have to cut it off, drill it out. And this one here, I experimented a little bit. Cut it off with my cutoff wheel. Tried to drive it all the way through. No, sir, don't do that. That was a mistake. I ended up having to drill it out. There it is right there. You ain't got enough room. It hits a little shelf in there, so don't do that. This one here, I put my little torch on it, and it eased on out pretty good. So that may be what we do tomorrow, is hit all these with a little bit of heat whilst I'm trying to pull them out. But for now, I'm going home. See y'all tomorrow. Well, it's the next day again, and I'm really hoping that today goes a little bit better than yesterday afternoon with these little studs. If I got to drill all these out, well, I'll be here all day. Ain't gonna get nothing done. I done cut myself, so the day ain't starting out real good. Ain't even started yet, and bleeding to death. Gonna have to call an ambulance. Anyway, let's see if we can get these studs out. All right. Let's get these studs out of here. Firstly, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put these little things right here, just like that. Now see, something ain't acting right because they ain't got, okay. Then I'm gonna get my nut here and hopefully it does not strip out. What I'm gonna do next, let's tighten this up just a little bit. Then I'm gonna get my torch. I'm gonna heat this base up. Hopefully it pulls out easily like that one did. Well, by George, it looks like it's coming out pretty easily. Get another space saw. That nut's hot. I guarantee you it's hot. I need to go get me another one. I am using the rocker arm nut. It's all I got. I can't find any more that's even halfway strong. And it's probably not the best thing to use, but it's all I got. I gotta go get another one. That's too hot. All right, let's see if this fella here will come off of here. These ones are no longer than the other ones, but it don't have as much threads. So I'm having to use 5 rocker ball thingamabobs. Ta-da! Now if the rest of them will go like that, it will be a-okay. Let me see what I can do with them. As you can see, I got all them out pretty easily. Now I'm doing battle with this one here. What I've decided to do was make threads all the way down as far as I can, because what was there was stripped. I'm hoping, I'll come back now. I'm hoping between that and giving her a little bit of heat. Well, that won't even go down on there. What the devil? Ow. Anyway, I'm hoping between that and a little bit of heat that we can get this stud out. Maybe? I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, let me throw some heat to it. All right. Fingers crossed that this works. It is coming out. Or not. I think it just galled that nut onto it. So that's good. Yep, broke her off. Well, I tell you what. This is getting on my last nerve right here. It sure is. Here's the thing about it. This one goes into the water jacket. I'm assuming if I drill it out and knock it through that I can get it out. That's the only choice I got at this point. So let me try that. Well, that's duller than my teeth. That'd be like a beaver trying to eat steel. That thing's so dull. Well, we are through. I don't want to go out any bigger because I'm right on the edge on this side here. So let me get a punch and a hammer. Fingers crossed that I don't get her jammed up in there. She's moving. Well, it's out. But can I get it out of the water jacket now? Probably not. Let me fool with that a little bit. See if I can get that out of there. Let me see. It'll be right here. There's a big old hole. It ought to come on down. Oh, yeah. I see it right there. Hang on. I don't know if I can get it out of that little hole. Let me see. Bring it like this here. Not yet. Let's try this here. Oh, why don't you come on out? Well, I need a small magnet. Let me see if I can find one. Well, I found this little fella in the toolbox over there, and let me tell you, if that's a magnet, yeah, it's a sorry excuse for one. Maybe it'll work though. Let me see. Oh, look at here. Look at here. I'm sorry for talking about you, little fella. Ta-da! All right. I'm glad to have that done. I guess next thing I'll do is I'll go to tapping for these studs. And then I got probably an hour or two to just cleaning all this garbage out of it. So, next time you see these, they'll be nice and shiny. I bought this little set of brushes on Amazon a couple of days ago. I'll tell you what, they're handy and dandy for cleaning up a head. Yes, sir. They get on Get them down in there where a regular wire brush won't. Anyway, let me get this outside and spray it down. Get her cleaned up the rest of the way. Well, I'm in here working on these heads. Look here who showed up. Mrs. Daisy, how are you doing, young lady? What have you been doing today? Huh? How are you doing? Say hello, everybody. You're so goofy. All right, we'll see you later. All right, the heads are cleaned up. I got them WD'd a little bit to keep them from rusting, and the important parts anyway. This is what I've been doing for an hour or so. Been doing lots and lots of measuring. Firstly, I measured my clearance, from the bottom of the retainer to the top of the valve seal. I showed y'all that in the last video, I believe. Trying to figure out max lift. You want 50 thousandths clearance. When this is all the way down, well, let me push it out. When it's all the way down like that, you want approximately 50 thousandths clearance. Well, it won't come up. There it goes. Right here where my screwdriver's stuck in. You want 50 thousandths clearance right there at max lift. Well, I measured every one of these because my cam, well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I wrote it all down in this middle row right here. That is our max lift with the 50 thousandths clearance built in. As you can see, the lowest one's 435. That's not real good. The highest one, where's it at? 485. That's decent. I had plans on grinding part of the retainer, bottom of the retainer there, give us more clearance. And I'm still going to do that. But the cam I had to get, it's a Summit brand, and I don't understand Summit. I searched on their site many times. This cam never came up. I just happened to run across it. Anyway, it's a Summit 8802, I believe. I ain't got it yet. Should be here tomorrow. I don't remember the duration right offhand, but the lift is 525 intake, 520 exhaust. I didn't want that much lift. I wanted about a 480, maybe 500 lift max, and well, just couldn't find it. This is basically the only cam I could find that was close to what I wanted. So with that 525 lift now, this hurts us here even more. So I'm gonna have to grind off 100 thousandths off of the bottom of my retainers to give us enough clearance. I'll tell you something I have thought about doing, and I ain't going to. Let me pop this seal off real quick and show you. I have seriously considered taking just a hand grinder, grinding this down a little bit right here, so that seal will sit down on there further, give us more clearance. I've never heard of anybody doing that, but hey, I'm not opposed to doing anything, really. I don't really see what it would hurt. The cutter you can buy, it cuts all that down there anyway. I'll just be grinding instead of using a precision cutter. I got to make up my mind if I'm going to take it all off the retainer or if I'm going to grind some there. I ain't decided it yet. But something else I've been doing is checking what my installed height is going to be on my springs. Matter of fact, here's my springs right here. Howard's cams, 98-212. It's 115 pound seat pressure. No, 125 seat pressure. I'll get it out in a minute. It's 125 seat pressure, 340 open pressure. Installed height, I can't really find what the installed height's supposed to be. That 125 pound spring pressure is at 1 inch and 750. What that means is from here on the retainer to down here. Well, there went one of my locks. Anyway, from here to the bottom of the retainer to this area here should be 1 inch and 750 thousandths. If it's less than that, the max lift on those springs is 550. If your installed height, that's called your installed height. If it's less than 1 and 750 and you've got a 550 lift cam, well, you're going to coil bind. You're going to break stuff. That's why I'm checking that, just to make sure that I ain't going to crash these springs and bend push rods and everything else. Here is what I've got for if I don't use any shims. This is the installed height on each one of them. I probably will shim them a little bit, probably Well, I got 30,000, 15,000, 30,000, and 60,000 shims right here. I'll probably shim them some just to get my seat pressure up because this cam's going to need it. Here's another reason why you check installed height. It has to do with valve float. If you don't have enough spring pressure, say this is, like 1 inch and 850, your pressure is going to be lower. And you rev this thing up to, 6,000 or 6,500 or whatever, you don't have what they call valve float. The valve is basically bouncing off the seat because there's not enough pressure to close it. So I'm not concerned with that because I'm not going to rev this thing past 5,000, 5,500. So I'm not really worried about that. I just want to make sure we wasn't going into coil bind, and I think we'll be just fine on that. Like I said, I may shim them a little bit. Anyway, that's what I've been doing for an hour or two. I got to grind these off. I got to decide if I'm going to grind these off, and then we can put them together. I'm probably not going to get these heads together tonight. It ain't looking like it. But at least I get something done. But I can't get it done talking to y'all. I got to get busy. All right, I got one retainer ground. I was just trying it out. Took 100 thousandths off the bottom. I got it all the way down. And we're setting on 0, and we'll push it up. Let's see what we got. There's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and 3 or 4. Let's just say 600 because the math will be easier. We have 600 minus 50 thousandths clearance. So we have a max lift of 550 thousandths. My cam is 520 thousandths. So that leaves us with 70 thousandths clearance. I think we're good there. I ain't got but, 15 more to grind. And this is the 435 one, by the way. It's the closest one. So if it's good here, it's going to be good on all of them. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go down the amount of lift my cam is and just look and see how much clearance we got. There's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and 20. Well, right in there somewhere. All right, let me get the camera and I'll show y'all what kind of clearance we got. See this area right here where my screwdriver's inside of? That's how much clearance we got with the lift that I'm running with that cam. I think that'll be plenty. Yes, sir, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I ain't got 15 more to go. Also, no, by the way, I forgot to show y'all this. I was concerned the locks, well, that's these little fellers here. They're up here in the top, right there. Well, I want this thing focused. Anyway, I was concerned that they might hang out the bottom if I ground 100 thousandths off. Well, as you can see, they are not hanging out the bottom. So that's wonderful and awesome. Let me get a few more on ground. It's going to take a while. Dead on. I'm about 10 under. It'd be good enough. All right, I just got done precision grinding these retainers. They're actually pretty close. I was shocked. Anyway, I did 8. That's enough to do one head. I've also decided to go ahead and do shims under the springs to get my pressure a little closer to what it should be. It's just these little fellers right here. One's a 30, one's a 15. They're going with 45. It ain't, I'm telling you, it ain't got to be exact. As long as they're close, that's all that matters. Anyway, all you got to do, put your spring-a-langer right there. Let me get my little thing to smash it with. Oh. All right, let's mash this spring down. Just like that right there. I have decided this spring compressor, I'm not a fan of it because of that right there. That just about hit me in the face. Yes, sir. So, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to be buying another one or modifying that one. Yes, sir. That'd like to hit me in the face right then. Let's try that again, shall we? That ain't worth crap there. I'm going to give you one more try, buddy. If you do that again, well, I'm going to sling you out the door. Yeah, it's fixing to do it again. Them springs are too tight for it, I guess. Too strong. Let me loosen it up just a little bit, see what it does. Whew. That's a little bit better. Hopefully it won't hit me in my darn face. Get down in there. Yep, this ain't worth crapoli right here. I think I might be getting rid of this thing. And I will be. You sorry piece of garbage. I got one lock in. Well, never in my life seen nothing like this right here. I can't get that one in. I ain't never seen nothing like this right here. That's just, I give up. I will be. It beats all I've ever seen. Well, she just broke on me, fellas. That's the foot that goes on the bottom, on the valve head. It just broke. I ain't never modeled. You can't buy nothing. You can't buy nothing anymore that's worth a crap. Everything's just junk. Just look at that. There ain't no way I can use this junk right here. Well, we're 13 minutes on the camera there, and I still ain't got one valve done. Finally, got one. 13 minutes. Well, that's got to be some kind of record there. 13 minutes to do one valve spring. What in the world? That thing right there, I guarantee you, somewhere on it, it says made in China. I bet you everything I got. I'm going to buy me a different one tonight. That little fella there, he's going in the garbage. I'm going to attempt to use it one more time. If it does what it did then, yep, I'm done for the night. Well, I managed to get all the springs installed with this little fella right here. I think I got that one, and then I started on that one, and well, it's a little bit bent up. It may have gotten slammed against the ground. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, well, I'll tell you what. I'll just do it right now. We'll pick her up. There she goes. Won't be using that no more. I'll look and see if I can find a better one tonight. This one here is pretty good, except for this extremely painful handle. I don't know why in the devil they made it like that. That hurts. But other than that, it did pretty good. I'm a little frustrated right now. I'm done for the evening. I'm going home. Well, I'm back to do battle once again with these valve springs. Hopefully, it goes a little smoother today. I'm telling you, last night, I got a little bit angry, that's all I'm going to tell you. I reckon when we get this done, it'll be time to pull that motor back out and finish putting it together. Yes, sir, I guess so. Got my cam. It came today. We'll pull it out in a little while, look at it. Went to Ireland, got me a batch of parts to finish putting the motor together. So hopefully, maybe we'll be closer to being done. It's going to be a short day. Maybe we can get a little bit of stuff done. I ain't going to show y'all this. Y'all seen that 100 times, just putting valve springs in. We'll get that done, hopefully get to working on that motor. Let me tell you this real quick, though. I stopped by my post office this morning. There wasn't nothing in there but one single letter. It was a handwritten letter. Well, let me just read it to you. I normally don't read these. You know, I don't know if people want to hear their handwritten letters read to the world, but I think y'all need to hear this one. Dear Mr. Chad, I have been a viewer of your channel for a little under a year, and I love watching your videos. I am 12 years old, and your channel has inspired me to do what you do. I just love the idea of fixing up old cars and getting them running. Every other weekend-ish, I come up to Clarksville to visit my dad. Since I recently discovered that you live in the area, I find it very cool that a lot of these old cars are from here. I hope that you can continue to upload these cool videos and continue to be an awesome guy. Sincerely, Cole. Well, Mr. Cole, I am very glad that I can inspire you to do something. That's awesome. Appreciate that letter, buddy. Email me at thisandthatgarage1@gmail.com. It's listed in the description of the video, and it'll be on the About section on the page. Email me. I got some questions for you. And let me say this, too. I don't have kids, so maybe I shouldn't be talking, but get your kids out behind the TV and the computer and the cell phone. Get them in a hobby. It ain't got to be cars. Just get them in a hobby. Get them doing something besides just sitting there watching TV. Anyway, again, appreciate that, Cole. Let me get to working on these heads. Maybe I can at least get them done today and possibly work on that a little bit. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Well, I just got done checking installed height and, our max lift before I ground the retainers. And this is the head that the exhaust seats were really pitted on. And, I had to really get with it to get them cleared up. Well, we have, basically, the way it's sitting here, we raised the seat, which makes all this go up higher, which gives us more clearance. That's quite evident in the installed height and the max lift before, I grind the retainers, as you can see. There's 4 or 5 over here that I'm going to have to shim pretty good. And then on the retainer, grinding the retainers, I can get by with just doing 50 thousandths instead of 100, so that's what I'm going to do. There's no need in grinding any more than you have to. So, let me get them ground, get this put together. I'll be back. Shims are in place. Retainers are ground. Springs are installed. I was fixing to get over and work on the block a little bit. Well, I completely forgot several partages when I went to Ireland this morning, so I got to go back to town. I need some copper spray because, remember these were a little pitted in a few areas. So I want to spray the gaskets. I got to have sparking plugs. Forgot all about that. And what else? Oh, timing chain set. I like Duralast better, AutoZone. So I'm probably going to go to AutoZone this time to get all them partages. When I get back, well, we'll go to working over there. If I got time, we'll just have to see. Well, I told y'all yesterday it was going to be a short day. Well, I didn't lie. All I got done was got this head spec'd out and got it put together. Well, I went to town twice, got parts. That's about it. Well, sometimes personal life, it takes priority over this stuff here. That's fine and dandy. That's just how it goes. Anyway, here's the cam. Got it yesterday. Here is the cam card. Summit 8802 is the part number. This is the only cam, I ain't kidding you, about the only cam I could find that met my specs that was in stock too. I'll tell you a story about that here in just a minute. Anyway, it's a 218, 227 at 50 thousandths lift, 525, 520 lift on the intake and exhaust respectively. This is really close to what Lunati recommended, and I think this will be a pretty good cam. It's on a supercharged, well, Roots blower anyway. They make all their power down low, lots and lots of torque. So you don't want a huge cam. There's just no need because they run out of breath. Well, at least this little one does anyway. So you don't want a huge cam in them. That right there is going to be pretty much perfect. But let me tell you this real quick. There's a certain website online. I bought parts from them before, and they're great. They had the Lunati cam listed that I wanted. So I emailed them. I said, "Do you have that in stock?" "No, sir, we don't." Well, I went through every cam they had that was close to what I wanted. It was 10 or 12 part numbers. I listed them in the email, sent it to them, said, "Do you have any of these in stock?" "No, sir, we haven't had any of them in stock." Why? Why do you have stuff listed on your website that you don't have in stock? That blows my mind. I don't understand that. That's like me going out here and saying, "Well, I got a 2023 Corvette for sale." Somebody comes up and says, "Well, I'll buy it." Well, sorry, I don't have it. Be about the same thing. It just don't make any sense. Stuff like that gets on my nerves. Anyway, you've probably figured out by now that there's going to be a part 4. Fellers, I'm a one-man show. I got to do it all. These heads, I had no idea that they were going to take that long to do. That's just how it goes. I can't afford to have people build me a motor, do my head work. I do this fairly regularly. I can't afford that every month. It just ain't in the budget. So I have to do it myself. That makes these projects, these videos, a little more longer, drawn out. That's just the way it has to be. Hopefully, y'all are good with that, though. This is going to be it, but hopefully next week we'll get this thing put together. Hopefully, I believe we'll get it in the truck. Well, let me just say this real quick. I'm slow. I'm not going to get in a hurry to put this together. You'll mess up. I have to do things 2 or 3 times anyway. Well, get in a hurry, you're going to have to do them 4 or 5 times. And the last couple of months, I have felt like I've been sort of rushed trying to get videos out. That's coming to a stop because this is what I love to do. I do not want that to become just your typical laborious, boring job. I don't. That's not going to happen. This series of videos, I have slowed down and took my time, and hopefully y'all are okay with that. Hopefully you're okay with 2, 3, 4 part series videos, because, well, it just takes time to do this, and I'm not going to rush it. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, hit that like, comment, subscribe, share with friends. And until next time, go do something. Blur, blur.